Happy to be joined by my friend Thomas Harris of Arizona. How's it going, my man?
It's going well, man. I'm excited to talk to you. It's been a long time. Long time since I've been in the state of Kentucky. So, to be in a podcast with that name in it is interesting. So, looking forward to being able to talk about my roots and our hometown and all that good stuff.
Yeah. Before we dive into some reminiscing about some Hilltopper days, tell us what you're doing now.
Yeah. So now I'm at the University of Arizona in Tucson, Arizona, and I've been out here for a little over 9 years now. Well, yeah, a little over 9 years. I got here in 2016, and it's been a journey. I came
Dude,
out here to
it's been that
to
long.
yeah, I know, right? It's
Oh
it's
my
wild
goodness.
to me. It's wild. Yeah, just to see like all the kids that were babies when I left, and to see how they've grown, things like that. It's wild to see on Facebook for sure. But yeah, I came out here to join the athletic department with the University of Arizona, and kind of work my way through that, and we can get through all that later. But and now I've transitioned to a university side of the job in a new division called Campus Community Connections, and in that role, I am the interim executive director. So overseeing the day-to-day logistics, the vision, the mission, all those things for our new division, which basically is on campus to connect our communities to each other. And so when we say communities, we mean our students, our faculty, our staff, and even our broader community members, coming up with programs, coming up with intentional conversations to connect all of those folks to the University of Arizona. And that way, everyone kind of feels valued and supported within the university.
Right. Well, let's back up before you got there. Let's start from the beginning. How did you kind of lead up to where you are now?
Yeah, so originally from Louisville, Kentucky, and wanted to get away from home a little bit. So went to Western Kentucky, so it wasn't too far away from home. And, did all my studies there, undergrad and graduate degrees from there. I started working in the athletic department in January of 2008 as a marketing intern with the great Lindsay Boyden, and she gave me an opportunity when I was still rough around the edges, and I'm forever grateful for that. And so worked as an intern for about 3.5 years, did some odd end jobs in the mall like with Lids and Macy's to make money, but was completely working for free in the athletic department. And then got my shot at a full-time job probably about 3.5 years after that, as an assistant director of marketing. Did that for a couple of years, then was promoted to director of student promotions and fan engagement, with the Red Wave. I know you remember that when we first launched that for our student promotions. And then Lindsay left, and I stuck around for a little bit, me and Zach running the shop there. And then I left in 2016 to go be an assistant director of marketing at the University of Arizona. So it kind of took a step back, going from kind of running the shop, co-running the shop with Zach, of course. Uh, just thought I needed some big Power Five experience, and moving out to Tucson was probably the best decision I have ever made. Once I got out here, having that Power Five experience, I started over. I started working with volleyball and softball and gymnastics, then worked my way up to men's basketball. And then after a couple of years, I started our diversity and inclusion efforts within the university, which was one of the first to do it at a Power Five institution. And that kind of propelled my career as an administrator, and joining the executive team under Dave Hickey at the University of Arizona Athletics Department, and really got to make some changes within the department to make everyone feel like they were a part of the team, and kind of had a more welcoming and supportive environment is what we were looking for, as well as some education, on the history and everything like that. And then last December, I transitioned to the university into this role now.
Right. What was it that led you to transition out of athletics into the university role?
Well, I always knew I didn't want to be an athletic director, and I think at some point, I was the senior associate AD when I was, working in athletics, and the next move that I wanted, there was someone in that role who didn't really show that they were going anywhere, and so that was kind of the only other role that I would have wanted within a department. I kind of saw the diversity inclusion piece, being phased out of college
Mhm.
athletics. So, for a little bit of job security, I wanted to move into kind of that student athlete development role, internal type of work. But, there was just no spot open to do that. And so I thought the time was now to strike. I had a campus partner who valued the work that I was doing and wanted me to come work for her. And so, the timing was perfect. We were going through a transition of the athletic director. And so anytime you get a big change like that, you kind of have to reassess, all right, have I been here too long? Is it time to go?
Right.
Trying to try something new. And I think all of those things kind of melded together to create a really good opportunity for me to leave last December. And it's been a good move so far.
Yeah, yeah. I completely understand. I think COVID took its toll on me in athletics. It's kind of like,
Mm,
what are we doing here? Uh,
sure.
playing in front of barely any fans and you're trying to market to companies that it's like, what are we getting out of it? Because we
Right.
don't have people to see our logos. And
Hmm.
I had the same kind of realization, like this isn't worth it. I'd rather be with my family
Yeah.
and and move on, do something else. So man, glad to hear what you're doing and certainly proud of you from moving up from our days from WKU. What are some of the highlights from when we were at Western?
Oh man, so many to think of for sure. I think probably for me the biggest highlights that come to mind are the Brom era when Coach Brom came and just kind of changed the trajectory of our football program. Obviously, you can throw a little bit of that to Bobby Petrino, bringing him down here, right? But when Brom took over, football just got exciting,
Mhm.
and when I first started, and we were 0-17 at home, right? Like
Right.
so. To be able to go from that part of my career of just being on the sideline, just sad all the time, getting blown out by South Florida, like losing to Navy, like all those types of teams, and then being able to have fun with football under during the Brom era, that's a big highlight that I'll never forget. And then I think back to back Conference USA basketball championships under Ray Harper was a ride as well. Being able to spend that time with our crew in Hot Springs, Arkansas, and being able to see that wild ride with Coach Harp, that was those are probably my top two kind of collective memories, I would say.
Right, right. So I just started with working as an assistant with the basketball office that
Mhm.
second Ray Harper year, and then I thought it's like, here we go, we're going to take off, and then
Yeah,
I didn't see another NCAA tournament while I was at
yeah,
WKU. And little did I
yeah.
know that we were going to flip and football was just going to skyrocket.
Hmm.
And,
Yeah.
going the back-to-back Conference USA champs, going to all these bowl games. And
Hmm.
man, it was really a fun time. And talking on the podcast before with Mo and Liv and we all talk about that volleyball NCAA matchup. Were you there for that when we hosted Louisville?
No, I don't think so.
Had you already left by that time?
I think so. Yeah. The volleyball memories I have are for the NCAA tournament were always on the road.
Okay. Yeah, yeah.
Stanford, Champaign, Illinois, those types of ones. So I think I missed that one.
But Coach Hudson, and
Of course. Yeah. Of course.
So it's like, man, to be able to go through all that and even to be able to pack the arena for a volleyball game just shows
Yeah.
the type of atmosphere we had at the time with
Hmm.
WKU athletics, and you were a part of building that, the Red Wave, and you and Warren and and Mo,
Yeah.
Lindsay and Liv and Zach, and we were all a part of a one huge team that helped build that up.
Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I have endless memories with Coach Hudson as well. Volleyball was I first when I first started, I wasn't quite yet full time, but had that marketing assistant role where it's like full-time hours but part-time paid position that we had.
You show up for
I was working
everything.
with soccer. Yeah, I was working with soccer. And then the next year, when I got the assistant director, that's when I started working with volleyball. And yeah, the amount of conference or Sun Belt tournament championships and then Conference USA championships, you know, I, Travis didn't have enough fingers for all the rings he has for sure. But uh, wild rides on the road. I was there when we played at Stanford and got Travis's first Conference USA or first NCAA win against, I think that was Loyola Marymount, I believe. Uh, One of those schools out in California. Maybe it
Mhm.
wasn't Loyola or something. Anyway, and just to see, Trav get that win when they underestimated him during that game, that coach was full of himself, thinking because he was West Coast they would win that game, and Trav, took him to school, and then obviously ended up losing to the host Stanford the next game, and just to see Trav like kind of take some time on the court after that game and just soak it all in after an emotional match like that's a core memory that I also have. And Travis, he's a good person, man. I love that guy. So he's here for a reason. We know that.
Yeah, you are one of many that are were a part of that core group that had moved on to the Power Four. What was that transition like, and why is it so common that was it just our team, or
Mm,
what mentors did you have that it's been again, Liv and Zach McKay are at U of L, and
mm,
Zach Greenwell is at LSU. Like we have so many people from our group
yeah.
that have moved on to the Power Four. Is it just the culture that we had at WKU?
Yeah. So, to be honest, like if you work at a school like Western Kentucky, there's two things. You have to love it there. And the second thing is you have to grind. And so WKU was a stomping ground for coaches. Like Coach Hudson, he loves that place, right? Like he could have left to go to a Power Four school so many times, and he chose to stay there. But you saw all the football coaches that have came through there and went on to, coach uh, to go on to Power Five different conferences and things like that, because at the end of the day, it kind of comes down to money at some point. But if you love it and you're ready to grind, like you could be successful at Western Kentucky. And I think for a long time, that core group of us, we love WKU so much that we were willing to sacrifice that money part of it to be able to be successful and build something there.
Mhm.
And people saw that. We would go to NACDA in Florida and Vegas, wherever, and people knew about Western Kentucky because of the work that we were doing. And so, yeah, people started poaching us. And for a while, we ignored it, but after a while,
Sure.
those Power Five paychecks are a little bit heftier. And I think after a while, it's hard to continue to ignore it, and especially as you want to continue to grow. We've had some longtime folks there that the positions just weren't going away. When I left, I never thought that Matt would leave, right? And so that was the next step for me, though. Me and Zach would have had to kind of fight for that, but I was like, Mo's a Bowling Green guy; he's not going anywhere. So at some point, I have to leave.
Right.
And that's kind of how it happened. But it's that grind that was instilled in us specifically from marketing from Lindsay, and you know it was passed down from me to Zach to Liv to some of the other folks that work with us. We had that grind, and it was attractive to those power four schools, so they recruited us.
Yep. Yeah, I know it can be tough, and certainly in the at a non-power four to try to do all the positions
Yeah,
for the same pay and then try to start a family. I mean
yeah,
that's why I jumped out of the game because I wanted to be there for my kids' games on Saturday, but
sure,
you got to be there all day for a Saturday football game. So
yeah, that's
I
true.
think that it sounds like from everybody I've talked to that that's the biggest difference is that a non-power, a group of five school, we're doing the jobs of many. And at a power four, maybe those jobs are spread out a little bit more so that it's not as daunting.
Well, and so that is the common misconception, I will say, is you think that's how it works, but what happens at a Power Five is you have so many more resources and so many more expectations that now, even though you may have one or two sports versus someone at a smaller school having four or five, that coach expects you to be with their sport
Right.
throughout the entire year, right? Like there's no off seasons in the Power Four. Even if you're working for volleyball or softball, like those head coaches expect more out of you. So you're still there late nights. You're still working. You know, like for softball, when we had two tournaments in the beginning of the year, and I would be at the field Thursday through Sunday. I would say Thursday through Saturday for 12 hours, and then on Sunday we'd play maybe two more games. And so you would think like, oh yeah, I'm working softball, it's going to be more low key, but Coach Candrea won 8 national championships at the University of Arizona. He was the Olympic coach. So
Mhm.
I couldn't just kick my feet up and say, softball, coach, I'll see you in February. Like, no, we started planning for softball in October. And, while I'm working volleyball, and then gymnastics is right around the corner. So yeah, I think that was a big misconception, and something that I learned when I went to the Power Five is like, oh, it's just more money, more problems, right? And
Mhm.
we had our own issues, and we were still there late at night and on weekends, and those things didn't change. But when it comes to, we weren't putting out tables for autograph sessions and things like that,
Right.
like we were doing at Western Kentucky. There's a big team to do that. We didn't oversee the spirit squads like Zach and I did. You know, those types of things go away, but your responsibilities have more expectations or higher expectations. So the grind doesn't stop. That's for sure.
Sure, sure. So I know we got about 10 minutes left. Let's talk about you've had some family additions since I last saw you moving out to Arizona.
Yeah, I did. When I got out here in 2016, I was lucky enough to meet my now wife, Alex Roby at the time, now Alex Roby Harris. I came here in August and I met her in October, and she's had my heart ever since. And we've been lucky enough to build a family here with our first daughter, Adeline Constance, was born December 14th, 2023, and now we are awaiting a new one coming on Thursday, which we're really excited about to have our family grow, and we really built a life for ourselves here. I'm sitting in my backyard, just kind of taking it all in as I'm speaking. But yeah, so it's been great, to be a father of two, and looking forward to meeting the new one in 2 days.
Yeah, congrats, that's my youngest is here. He's
Oh, nice.
hey, you gonna say
I
hi?
remember. Yeah, that's yeah,
You never know what child's gonna pop in. So
it's true.
um,
Yeah,
now, congrats on a new addition, and congrats on the family. I tried to keep up with your career, but also love seeing you starting a family and keeping up with
yeah,
you, man. That's awesome. I
absolutely.
know you transitioned out of athletics. I know you said it was hard. How have you dealt with that going from athletics to the university side? Because I know talking with Mo, it's been, we've had our thoughts on that. I've shared my thoughts on, it's been hard because that was identity for so long.
For
And
sure.
then to not have that, it can be hard. So how have you experienced that?
Yeah, I haven't even reached a year quite yet. It'll be a year in December since I've made that transition, but it's been tough in the sense that all the perks that you get when you work in athletics, and kind of how that adrenaline feeds you, because I've been an athlete my entire life, and that part, like you said, the identity piece, it's tough that that doesn't get fed like it used to. But when I'm at home at 4 o'clock on a weekday, or I'm enjoying the children's museum with my daughter, on a weekend, and don't have to worry about all these hours and long nights, I kind of forget about it, if I'm
Yeah.
being honest. So it's been a little bit of an easier transition for me, because I think I knew it was time probably 2 years ago, but I stuck it out, and kind of did exactly what I wanted to do and left on my own terms. And was able to transition into a role that I really love. So it's been a little bit easier for me than I think for most, just all of those things considered. But it's that adrenaline, it's being around, student athletes, it's going on, away game trips, you know, controlling the crowd when you have a hot timeout, like those things I miss. I do.
Yeah.
But the nuts and bolts about it, I paid my dues, man. I
Right,
paid my
right.
dues.
I understand. Well, to wrap up, I know you're not the athletics right now, but tell me about, I mean, Arizona football 3-1. It looks like Arizona basketball is going to start out maybe top 10 preseason.
Yeah, I mean,
What are expectations?
leaving on good terms. I'm still close with a lot of those folks there, and I was just in McHale Center, which is our Diddle Arena, essentially, the other day, and talking to a few folks about the basketball team. They're really excited. This Koa Pete kid. Everyone, if you haven't heard that name, should be on the lookout for that. But in some of the Art Subtle kids, and then obviously Bronny James. Like there's a really good freshman class for the men's basketball, but also a a big time returning a class of upperclassmen, Jaden Daniels, Toby Awaka, getting Mo Cravis back. So I think Tommy Lloyd's going to make some noise like he always does for sure. Football is exciting under Coach Brent Brennan. I think there was a lot of kind of worriedness about what was going on with that program. But to start 3-0 was big. Tough loss last week, but they're gonna try to rebound against an Oklahoma State team that is looking for a win. So it should be an entertaining game. And I would say women's basketball. I haven't had a chance to meet Becky Burke, but coming from Louisville, we got some common friends, some mutual friends, and that tenacity that she's brought to this
Hmm.
program. I think folks will be pretty excited about what's coming with women's basketball as well. So, yeah, it's exciting times for Arizona athletics. All of our sports are always in championship contention, and we're looking for triathlon to repeat, this year, and we'll see what happens with triathlon. Their first year, and they won the national championship last year, so hoping
Yeah.
that they can repeat this year.
Good deal, man. Well, last question. How is through everything you've been through from WKU or from Louisville to WKU to now Arizona, what you're doing now, how has your faith kind of led you through everything?
Yeah, my faith means everything to me. It's what keeps me grounded. It's what keeps me positive. It's what keeps me hopeful. And to be able to believe that no matter what happens, it's according to God's will and God's plan. It has always been a guiding light for me. And even though I'm not as into going to a physical church like I used to in Bowling Green, that faith is still instilled in me, and still kind of carries me forward in everything that I do, and that hope, and even sometimes that the leap of faith that I've had to take to make these moves that I'm making. I always pray before those, and just ask for guidance and ask for signs, and I feel like I answer those or I accept those when I see them, and I think it's gotten me to where I am for sure, no doubt.
That's awesome to hear, dude. Well, I know you got to go. We're on a short time crunch here, but man, I appreciate you doing this. I appreciate catching up with you for one, mostly. But let's stay in touch and let's keep me posted with what you got going on because I'd love to hear it, man.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I appreciate you. Excuse me. I appreciate you reaching out, man. It's good to catch up, and for sure, once my life kind of calms down with the new child, if that ever happens, I guess. But we'll definitely reach out and try to catch up and talk more.
Well, hey, prayers for everything to go good with this next child being born, and can't wait to see some pictures.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it, and we'll talk soon, man.
Awesome, Thomas.